Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, welcome to Ventura, California. We're here at Miller Speed Co. You can see kind of in the background there. I'm really stoked because we are getting a new cam installed on the bike today, and Bryce is being nice enough to let us be here after hours, show you guys around the shop, and just, you know, take you through the process. So we're gonna hop right into it. I'm too excited for all this, so let's go. Let's go! So Bryce is just over there getting everything kind of dialed in, ready for the install. In the meantime, I'm gonna just take you around the shop. So yeah, let's go for a little tour. So first things first, we come inside. We got this nice little lounge area. Chill while your bike's getting done. Pause for a minute to take a look at that piece of beauty. Love that. Glasses, fluids, parts, apparel, unknown industries, all the good stuff, honestly. And then got all kinds of parts and bits and bobs getting ready to be installed for different people. And we come back here, and this is the main shop. It's where the magic happens. And yeah, that's the look. We got here, we're getting a new door installed. It's gonna be really nice, but forgive me if the sound is a little because of it. Bryce, what's up, dude?
What up?
Thank you for letting us come to the shop and everything. You want to, tell us what's up here?
No problem. So my name's Bryce. It's Miller Speed Co. This is our shop where we do a bunch of Harley customizations, service, full builds, pretty much everything top to bottom.
Dope. Whose bike you got right here? This is nice.
Oh yeah, this is our friend Cassidy's bike here.
He's a bit of a pain in the ass, I hear.
He is. He's a nice guy, you know.
So you're gonna help us go through the cam install here?
Yeah, we're gonna go start to finish. So first we're gonna strip everything externally.
Love it.
And then we'll start getting inside. And then we'll kind of walk you through some of those things too. Basically, I like to just remove this stuff. One, we need the air cleaner out of the way. You don't technically need to remove this, but it's only 3 bolts, so I like to get it out of the way. That way when I'm adjusting these push rods, I can get in there nice and easy.
Yeah, give you more clearance.
Open it up, it'll take me 3 minutes to take off 3 bolts, but it'll save me probably about 20 minutes in work time, you know?
He's a smart guy, this guy, you know? It's almost like he knows what he's doing.
I don't know if I go that far.
How long you been wrenching on bikes, though?
Oh, about 6 months.
Yeah, that's the guy. Okay, so everyone heard that? This is the guy that you want to come to for all of your Harley needs. 6 months of experience, killing it.
Yep, no school, no just winging it right now.
He's obviously kidding.
No, I've been working on bikes for about 8 years.
There you go.
And then I went to work at the dealership, and I did a lot of service riding and wrenching, and eventually was a service manager at a local dealership, which, taught me a lot about the paperwork side of things.
Yeah, that's good.
Stuff like that. Alright, so now that we got all this stuff out of the way, the exhaust, cam cover, throttle body, air cleaner, we're going to go ahead and remove all the push rods, lifters, this stock cam plate, oil pump, get all that stuff out of there, and then we'll kind of go into the new stuff that's going in. But luckily Cassidy already had some adjustable push rods in here, so we're going to use our fancy clips here to hold them up out of the way while we break those down. That way we can get out all the lifters and move all that stuff without any pressure on it. So alright, so now we can pull our fancy springs off, pull this up, pull the push rod out. So when we go to do the front, So right here I line the 2 dots, which basically means the rear cylinder is on bottom circle. So it's on the smallest part of the lobe of the cam. Therefore there's the least amount of tension on the actual push rod. So like this one I can't spin because there's too much tension. If I spin this 180 degrees, cam sprocket.
Never get tired of watching that. That's so cool.
Now we're able to spin it.
And you're in 6th gear, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, guys, do that.
The spark plug so there wasn't any compression building while I do that.
Do that. Makes it a lot easier than spinning it in 1st gear for sure. I'm so excited to see the torch come out here too.
Oh yeah, she'll be coming out here shortly. We're gonna heat her up. You're all hot and bothered.
There it is.
Got every once in a while these bolts here. It's a small, 3/16 bolt or quarter 20 bolt, excuse me. And a lot of times I don't know if it's case gets too hot or what gets too hot, but they tend to kind of melt themselves in there.
Like fuse together,
exactly.
yeah.
And then they end up breaking every time you go to pull them out. And then once they're in there, then you got to get them out of the case, and turns a few hour job into a few day job.
So what's the plan here?
So we're gonna pull all this guts out of here, pull the lifters out, get everything out of the way, clean it all up so we don't catch all the oil on fire. And we're gonna heat that bolt up real hot when we go to pull it out. So that way hopefully it'll help the cases expand away from the bolt a little bit.
Love that.
Pull it all out. So
yes, sir.
that is called success.
Yes, sir.
We won.
We won. Let's go.
All right, so now we got everything out. We got our bolts out of here. We got everything empty. Now this is the inner cam bearing. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that with a much better, stronger bearing made by Feuling. So we're gonna use our tool to get in there and get it out, which is a little bit of a process. But basically we put that in there and then we put this, which is gonna spread the tool, which is gonna grab the inner side of the bearing, then we'll put a plate on it and then it'll pull it out. And then we'll use that little same but different tool to reinstall the new one, and then we can start installing all of our new products.
Never knew how much hammering was involved with Harley mechanicking. Mechanicking, machine work.
There is a little bit of
The first time he pulls out the hammer, he goes, "Cover your eyes, just don't look." I was like, okay. I trust you. Plus, you know, rubber mallet. It's not gonna do too much.
I got bigger hammers.
No, I think we're okay. I think we're all right. One of the cool things to me is that people make tools like this. Yeah, like they kind of know that.
Made by Jim's Machine, which is actually local here in Camarillo.
Nice.
We actually have a pretty good relationship with them as well, but they're kind of the leading edge on making tools as far as cam installs. I mean, everything from some tools we'll show you later that hold like the lifters up.
Yeah.
And they make everything along with it a lot of good products. Like they make a lot of good transmissions, engines, a lot of stuff. So
nice.
We're fortunate to have them so close. Installed.
Beauty.
There you go.
Get in there and see what we're looking at. Yeah, so there you go, guys. The bearing goes in the back all the way in there. It's just nice and seated. It's kind of hard to, I hope that's focusing. I hope you can kind of see what we're looking at there. I'll try to throw like a highlight up on the screen, but yeah, so that's a bit of a process to get in that. You also need some specialty tools to make it work, right?
Yes, sir.
But not too bad, not too bad. So now that we've got kind of everything fully taken apart, we got the bearing in there, all that good stuff. Walk us through what we got on the table here. We've been showing it off a little bit.
So basically we got the new cam that's going in. So this is basically the whole reason we're doing this job. We got the new Feuling cam plate. The best way to describe it is like an oil distribution block. So you basically have all these passages that are machined inside here, and as the oil pump basically sucks all the oil out of the engine case, it pumps it into this plate, which it's then going to go through all of its cavities and then pump into the case, and it's going to get where it needs to go, such as the piston oilers, the lifters, basically up through the push rods to lubricate the rocker boxes and everything that's going on up there. So this is basically like the lifeblood of the oiling system. And then you got the oil pump, which, as you can see, Feuling did a really nice job making these billet pumps. Basically, they have created a design that is fully billet. So one, it looks cool. Two, they machine it very well, so there's no spring-loaded gears in here, so therefore it doesn't create a lot of wear on the inner edge of the cam plate there. Additionally to that, we have these nice powder-coated tappet blocks, so that way everything's going to match. And then we have these S&S, they're lifter guides. So that nice heat job we did earlier was to replace these shitty plastic ones, because these allow the lifters to kind of move around and wiggle around, which long term you don't want. You want them stationary, which is this nice billet plate is going to make sure that happens. Additionally to that, we have this new cam chain tensioner. So basically that applies tension to the cam chain and make sure there's no slack, so we don't skip any teeth on that. And that is also oil driven, so it's got a little oiling hole there, which as you rev up the motor and oil pressure builds, it will apply more pressure to the actual shoe, again not allowing that thing to skip any teeth. And then lastly, we got our lifters. You're probably wondering why they're in a mason jar.
I was literally just gonna ask that.
So lifters are also full of oil, and when they come, you have to basically inject oil into them, which will pump them up, so that way when you're adjusting the push rods, you get an accurate adjustment. You know, our friends at Jim's make a nice fancy tool. We kind of made our own out of a mason jar and drilled a hole in the cap and put a valve stem in here. And then basically what I'm going to use a vacuum brake bleeder that's going to suck the air out of it, which is going to suck oil into the lifter. So it's a little bit cleaner way than sitting there with a little pump and pumping them up. So we'll get a good shot of that so you guys can see what that looks like before we install those. So we're going to get everything ready with a little bit of assembly lube, get everything nice and lubed up for initial startup, and then we'll be installing. So like I said, when you want to get everything kind of lubed up with some assembly lube or something like that. Even oil is fine if you work fast enough. So basically you want to do that because on first initial startup, you don't want metal on metal. You know, you want it lubricated.
Metal on metal is bad pretty much always. Anything bad. Inside the motor, bad. Even I know that, guys. Come on now.
No metal on metal contact. Without lubrication. No lubrication.
I feel like there's a meme in there somewhere.
I feel like there is. I feel like somebody's gonna come up with it. One of you guys watching is gonna find something.
Astroglide, if you're watching, sponsorship, hit me up.
We'll take it. Alright, so oil pump is installed. Now we're gonna install the cam after we lubricated it up.
This is the fun part.
Oh.
Bam!
It's our new home.
That one's so much easier.
Yep. Put this over right there. Don't move. You like to be there. You want to be there.
Do you talk to your parts a lot while you're working?
I tend to do that.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I'll come back on your good side here.
Yeah.
Make it easier for you.
All right. So now, putting the nice pretty cam plate in.
For real. God, I'm gonna need to get one of those clear cam plate covers.
All right.
Shit, that looks good. Love it.
Bolts in.
Ew.
And stoke the torch.
God, I'm so stoked. This is amazing.
Horrible.
How many V-rods have you had to work on?
Oh, thankfully not many.
I've heard that from so many techs that it's like, if you ride a V-rod, we hate you, just automatically.
Well, it's just because it's so different than everything else, and they use a lot of metric stuff. So,
yeah, well, because it's just like a Porsche motor and a Harley, basically.
But actually, two of our guys, Mark and Scooter, are both master techs, and they are, I'm pretty sure, unless one other person that I'm thinking of is, They're like the only people in this county that are certified to work on V-rods.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
But they won't let me take them in.
even they're like, no.
Even there's master certified in it.
Oh my god, that's too funny.
But they are fast. I'll give you that.
Yeah. If ever there was a muscle Harley,
Yeah, that's the one.
sure shit is a V-Rod.
Pretty sure they came with a free pair of afflictions.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
So now we got the cam plate in, we got the oil pump in, we got all of our bolts basically finger tight. Now we're gonna go by Feuling's torque specs using our snap-on torque wrench. So they want theirs torqued to 40, 80, and then final torque is gonna be 120 inch-pounds. We're gonna start with doing the cam plate bolts first, so these 6 outer bolts in a crisscross pattern. And then once those are final torque at 120, then we're gonna do the same thing with the oil pump, 40, 80, then 120. And in between every torque spec, we're gonna be rotating the rear wheel, and we're just gonna be rotating those gears. So that way they kind of wiggle themselves where they wanna be, and everything lines up perfectly, and everybody's happy. And now, it's gonna get a little bit loud, but like I was showing you guys our nice new tool that we made. We're going to be basically pumping up the lifters, so that way when we put them inside the bike and we go to adjust the push rods, we get an accurate adjustment. Okay, so now we're going to install the lifters, but we just want to show you guys something real quick. So inside this engine case, there is actually a hole, which is basically the oiling hole. So through this little hole on the lifter is how it gets pumped up. So if you didn't use our tool how we used, and you're just using a regular oil can, you're gonna be oiling that hole to pump up the lifter. So when you're installing these, there's a certain way they have to go to make sure they get oiled. So basically you want them to face each other, which is gonna be facing the oiling hole. So as we place those in, notice how this doesn't have a hole, this side does. We're gonna face them towards each other, which is going to make sure that they are all facing the oiling side of the engine case. So that is a big thing that some people don't do, and then their lifters get real noisy, and the reason is because the oil is having to fight its way around the lifter to pump it up. So we just want to make sure we do that. Get all 4 of them in, then we'll install our new S&S lifter guides. They got a rear and a front labeled by an R, and nice. I'm gonna guess that there's an F on the other one.
We're gonna take a wild swing at that. And for those of you that don't know, obviously front, rear, yeah, that should be
front
pretty.
Motorcycle, rear the motorcycle.
That should be pretty self-explanatory. Goal is to just bulletproof this thing as much as possible. Want to get as many good parts on there to keep everything nice and squared away as we possibly can. So we're on the right track.
So I took the cam chain off. What we're gonna do is we're gonna basically use these stack of spacers here and a straight edge to try to find the right spacing. Now the reason why that is important is because when I put this on, so I'm gonna find a really thin one here, like a 110 or something, like this one right here. So if I put this spacer on, find the flat spot, boom, and spin that on, and then take something like this with a nice straight edge, and I run it across here. You can see that there is a gap there, which is basically going to allow the chain to ride on one of the edges of these sprockets, which you don't want to do. You want these sprockets to be perfectly aligned, that way the chain can run smoothly without grinding anything away. So the way that we find that is, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be either a 130 or 140 spacer. So we're gonna take a 130 spacer.
Yep.
Put that on there.
Try again.
I'm gonna put this on. And it is very, very important to put the bolt in and actually tighten it. And the way that you're gonna do that, grab our cam locker tool. So we're basically going to line those dots, put that tool in there, that's going to lock them so that that in. All right, now we're tight. So,
beautiful.
We're gonna get down. We're gonna put this on here. And boom, we are perfectly flat.
Hey, look at you. First guess.
So, with a straight edge across and we apply pressure, there's no gap here whatsoever. Everything's nice and flat.
Love that.
These sprockets
Nice.
are perfectly aligned.
That
That way the chain will stay nice and centered.
perfect.
So we take that off, put the chain back on, torque those down, we can move on. So, as you can see, the chain can wiggle back and forth on both sides. It moves either way. Now we're going to throw this locker tool back in here. Bottom one we're going to torque to 24 foot-pounds, and the upper one is going to go to 36. So, now we are in a spot that we can go to adjust our push rods. You basically want the lifters at the lowest point that they are going to be, and that's where you start your push rod adjustment. Now, if you noticed, I lined up these two dots. When those two dots are aligned, that means that the rear cylinder is ready to be adjusted. That means that the rear cylinder piston is on the compression stroke with the piston all the way at the top, and the lifter is going to be all the way down to their lowest point. Now, I keep this in here and I leave this cover off because now I know that that is ready to go. People will tell you to get it to that point and drop the jack, because as you apply pressure when you're adjusting those push rods, it's going to want to spin the cam. If it wants to spin the cam, it has the option to rotate this gear, which then can turn the crankshaft if you go hard enough, and then now you're not getting a correct adjustment because now those gears have moved. If I leave that cover off and I leave that tool in there, they cannot go anywhere. Alright,
Nice.
those are adjusted. There is one thing that we did forget when we were doing that. I did forget to tell you guys to make sure after you adjust these, make sure that you can spin the push rods by hand freely before you actually rotate to the front cylinder. To adjust the front, you have to wait until those lifters bleed down and you're able to spin them by hand. So that is a crucial step. All right, our push rods are in, everything's in. We're putting this cam cover on, and then we're gonna be doing what's called priming the oil pump. So basically we're gonna use the starter to spin over the motor. That way it'll in turn lubricate everything, get the oil pump moving, get everything flowing, get oil where it needs to be, get the lifters fully pumped up. Also, that will make sure that we didn't make any mistakes on our push rod adjustment. So we're going to do that to kind of test everything and get oil going where it needs to go before we actually do our initial fires. So once we do that, we'll be throwing on the exhaust, the intake, and off to the dyno. You see the little red oil can light is on?
Yep.
But I actually primed that enough until the oil light goes out. So now we know we are operating with the correct oil pressure. And now we can put it all back together and start it.
That's how you know you did a good job, is when the cases look good enough that you want to look at them without an exhaust.
All right.
Damn.
Oh, gotta get her cleaned up, man.
Miller Speed detailing as well.
Gotta make the work look good.
Looks so good. God, now I'm just gonna feel bad taking it and not putting it in the garage.
I mean, you can clean it, you don't have to go in the garage.
Yeah, I know, but that requires effort, you know.
Physical effort.
Physical
Time.
effort, labor, time, right? Oh man. A clean workstation is a happy workstation. Miller Speed Co. That's the
Clean workstation is an
motto.
efficient.
I asked Bryce if there's any other tool shed in here, any other drawer that's as organized as his. I gotta show you guys this. Like, honestly, I'm just impressed. Like, look at this. It's immaculate. Like, what? Who does that? I know I don't. I'm very impressed, but super stoked, guys. It's all buttoned up. It's looking really good. Exhaust is back on. Air cleaner's back on. We even cleaned up the cases a little bit, so they're looking probably the cleanest that they're going to look until I get a garage at some point in my life, which Lord knows when that's gonna be. But we're getting close to being able to fire it up, so I think we're, Bryce, how we looking?
I'm just gonna wipe this off and we're good to go.
Woo! Yep, a little bit, just a little bit. Oh my God, that sounds so good. Dude, hey, yo. You're the man, thank you. You absolutely smashed it out of the park. Like he said, off to the dyno, so I'll check back in with you guys. I think it'll probably just be when I come back to the shop to pick it up. As you guys can see, it's fucking dark out and we have been here for a while now, so I'm gonna let this man get to bed, honestly, because he's been amazing and absolutely killed this for me. But yeah, we'll check back in after we get it back from the dyno. We can see some numbers on it and how it's actually pulling, but I cannot wait to ride this thing. So hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial part of this and, you know, the little walkthrough of Bryce's shop. Bryce, anything you want to say?
Thanks for watching, man.
Hey.
Thanks for bringing your bike in.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, you need to retire too.
Yeah, I do. That's really true. Okay, well, yeah, we'll check back in with you in a couple days, and we can see how it's going. So, all right, we'll be right back for you guys anyway. Okay, bye. Just kidding, guys. So as you can see, we're back in the studio. Once I got home and started editing and realized like how long the video is actually gonna be, I decided to do it more as like a part 1 and 2. So part 2 will be where we discuss my thoughts on the new cam, how the bike's running after the dyno tune, all that good stuff. But I just wanted to take an opportunity to say thank you guys for supporting the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. And also huge shout out to Bryce and all the guys at Miller Speed Co for all the work they do on my bike. It's been awesome working with those guys. And yeah, I mean, the build is by no means close to being done, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that, and hopefully you'll like the new content that we have coming your way for that as well. But for now, be sure to check out part 2. I will link it down in the description as well as right over here. And yeah, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.